All right, here we are. We're focusing on. We're actually going to do four shots now, right? Four shots.
Yeah.
The reason why we're combining all four of these shots is because they all kind of come from one main source, and they're just crops or close-ups or just recomposed parts of the same shot, basically, just different camera angles. And they're mainly just of the Akira chamber, basically. This is a real difficult shot for us to do. I think it took a long time. If you
Yeah.
remember, it was a
Yeah.
long process to get this one to fruition. But looking at them, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if I heard you have like an aha moment looking at them side by side. It's like, wow, cool. Like it still has the same feel, which is great. I think it's
Yeah.
it's so often you get kind of lost in the process, and it's like so easy to forget where it comes from. But yeah, I mean, we changed a couple things. We went a little tighter here, and since we're using a different aspect ratio, it's a little bit different of the crop. So
hmm
we're missing a couple things, but at the same time, there's a lot of the details and the main things, like even like this kind of stuff. Like I remember when I was modeling this stuff, I was looking at like all these little details, like and putting everything in there, even the little holes, or missed a
hmm
double cable here. Dang it. Might have got missed or something lost in there. But all the different little details and all the texturing that you had put on to the model too, and just how it all kind of came together. And then all the post work to get the false,
Smoke.
the frost that came off of there.
First, yes.
So that was one of the challenging parts of this shot too. We wanted to have the frost, but we couldn't figure out how to get it to work right too, and inside of Octane. So I think we just kind of cheated it inside of
hmm
After Effects, which I think worked out fine.
hmm
All in all, I think it's effective enough. I think we could probably add in some more like particles of snow and pieces falling in the foreground. That probably would help a little bit too. But that would probably be the only thing I would still think we could add to these shots. But yeah, it's pretty crazy how close they are, though, how close they came, and just how
hmm
accurate the art was back then. If you think about it, it's just all drawing and how they knew how to keep the light right, and it's
Just
pretty.
crazy.
It is really crazy. It's amazing they managed to do, and yeah. So here's the madness. So there's so much to these shots, and I think what we can do is we can maybe start with the original source materials and some of the references. This project is all about finding the right references and using them properly. And this is a scan from like I can't remember, like the Akira Bible or something. I can't remember what it was, but I have almost every book, every Otomo Akira book on my shelf, and so
hmm
I think you remember that one photo I sent of you after I read through it. There was like a bunch of little
Yes.
like little
Yes.
post-it notes on it.
Yes.
So we shots.
Yeah, I love your animal
Yeah.
yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I have these little bookmarks that I have, like they're like little animals. It's kind of funny. So I'll have to find that photo and share it with everybody. But yeah, it was mainly about just finding references because all this comes from Otomo, and he was such an integral part of the entire process, all the way from drawing and building out the worlds in the manga to the anime. It was just there's certain things about each drawing, they stay the same but they change, and so when I would model it, I just grabbed the Fusion model because I made
hmm
actually modeled the entire thing in Fusion, or almost the entire thing. When I'd model it, it was really complicated because with each drawing it would change. So I was like, well, which one do I follow? So this one, like this one has like a little cutout like this, and then this one has like a big cutout with the center line. And
Okay.
these are things that I'm sure that he doesn't. I wouldn't imagine he was all that aware of. Or even here, there's like these big holes in this other one, like these cuts. But in
hmm
this one, they're not there. So it was a matter of just finding a common ground between the source material and finding what works best for the shot too, and knowing where we were in a frame, and at least having an idea where we were going to look and how we were going to look at things was quite important. So yeah, and this is if you look behind here, you can see I put the canvas basically, and then built everything around it based on the sketches. So all the sketches are here. I think if I go here, oh, there's so many sketches here.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a big file. There's a lot of stuff in here. Let me just turn it on so we can see, because I don't know where everything is. And I would just put on music, and then I would just kind of go for a couple hours. This is like, I'd probably just go out for a couple hours at a time and slowly find one place to really freak out on, and then try to just focus on each detail and not look at it all at once, just little details, you know?
mm-hmm.
I know you work the same probably, right? Because if you were to make something all at once, it would just it would be too much, you know? But
Yes.
yeah, there it is. So you can kind of see, and at a glance, it doesn't look all that complicated. It's pretty simple. But then if you kind of put everything together and all the bodies and stuff, there's quite a few little pieces and spots to it. Yeah, and it all adds up to time.
That's a lot.
Yeah, there's quite a bit, but it was fun. I enjoyed this a lot, and it was really cool. Like finding the source, like following the source material. I ended up using this one a lot closer. This reference right here, and then there's also like this version too, which is a gouache painting. I think it's gouache. That's what Otomo would use. But yeah, it was fun. It was it was so challenging, but it was a really good experience to. I think after this, I felt much more confident about modeling in this program and just modeling in general. You know, it's like to go down. Like I could have learned how to like model a lamp or something, but I decided to make Otomo's door, so Akira door. But here it is. It's all here, and it was fun. So it's from the source material, and then trying to find parts of the source material, and then pass the files off to Mike at that time, because I think what was kind of happening, we found that I was just doing and handling the modeling part of things, and then Mike was just doing a really great job of texturing things. So I would get tired of it, and then I'd pass it on to Mike, and then Mike would go off and start doing texturing and getting everything together. And you want to talk a little bit about how you approached like maybe this shot right here?
Mm-hmm. The texturing, right?
Yeah, or whatever. Like if there's something that you can remember or like recall that was like something that was significant or special.
Oh, yeah, I remember. At that time, I think I found some good texture technique by doing another shot. It's a neon side shot. Do you remember that? The neon side.
Oh yes, you had a breakthrough on the neon sign. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I did a couple of research, and but still I was using my own way to do it, like layer by layer. For this shot, I think I layered maybe 4 or 5 layers to make a lot of mixture textures.
Yeah,
so it's quite a.
Yeah, look at this. Oh man. Yeah, no, it's just because it's the node editor, so I can clean this up pretty easily. But yeah.
So yeah,
there's
basically it's lots of mixture textures, and that's all.
How do you look at it when you're doing textures? Because do you look at one part at a time and kind of break down like, okay, that's what the metallic looks like, that's what the paint looks like. How do you approach it when you're doing your texturing?
Yeah, basically at first I will ignore all the dirt and all the garage, and I just pay attention to the base material. So my first sight on the base material is like a metal, right? So I started to build a base metal texture, and then I started to add a little bit, add some dirt and some squash. Each dirt and squash are separate mixture textures. So that's why there are so many mixture textures.
Sure, that's how you keep it custom, like and unique, I think. Because if you didn't, if you like, you just kind of, if you didn't do that, I think you would see a lot of tiling and errors
Right.
basically happen. I
Yes.
think, and you don't see that with this, which is great because you kind of, it still holds a lot of. It looks like it's been UV'd and textured properly. You managed to find a way to cheat it basically, which is great.
Yes.
Yeah, because we didn't necessarily, neither of us really cared to UV this at all. UVing is a horrible experience in this 3D part of making things, and so we avoided doing any UVing in the entire project. Yeah, because it would just be horrible. I think I UV'd a couple things, and it was just like, oh, kill me now. So, yeah, you found out a really good way, and
Yeah.
like looking at this it's pretty crazy how spot on it was. We removed a lot of lights and we kind of added some and kind of moved the lights around too. And that was one thing I think it was a lot of fun too is,
Hmm.
model it and you'd texture it and then you'd set up the lights and then I would come in and play with it too. I love photography. I love filming things
Yes.
and I love bringing that eye to this stuff too. And it really
Hmm.
helps. And when you come into building things in CGI, there's endless ways that you can light things, and there's so much power that you have in CGI. And I think with this shot, it looks like there's only 3 lights, and maybe there's like a dome or something. There's a sky dome. That's like, I think that's probably like representing yeah, it's like a simple color configuration of like a white
Yes.
softbox and a blue softbox that we would rotate and get the light to look somewhat decent, and then kind of match that, and then the rest of it, these would be accents. There, it looks like there's only 2 though, so let me turn these off and on so people can see. So let's see, let me turn this over here. So this is our main lights here. So if I turn these off, the whole scene's dark, and then we have a top shot right here, and I think we were trying to catch
Hmm.
that edge right here and some of this
Yes.
detail, and also most importantly kind of opening up the viewport to what's inside, so making this dark, slightly illuminating this, and then making this brighter. It's leading the eye into the
Hmm.
darkness.
Hmm.
And then I think that's what I personally really love about lighting, is because it's just like drawing. It's really similar to drawing, I feel. It's like very similar. And I think this light was turned off. And then, so we'd have that one. And then I think to accentuate the inside of the door, we put a light behind the door to illuminate this to, again, further push up that thing without affecting everything else.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then the HDR kind of filled up the room, bouncing ambient light. And then we knew we were going to do in post, we were going to add all that smoke and stuff too. So we ended up doing that all in post. But I'm very proud of this one. I think it turned
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
amazing for
It's
what it
quite amazing.
was, considering where the source material is, and like how close it got. Like if we look back at this shot, it's over here. Yeah. So if we look at this shot really closely, I mean, it's pretty similar for, if you consider it. We didn't see this part of the door. We went a little bit
Hmm.
closer, but yeah, it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
I
That's
just have the my slave machine. I just have these going right now, but yeah, this is I'll open up the other one too, so we can look at it really quickly too, just so you guys can
hmm.
see the detail and stuff, and some of the animation as well, sending all the
Diaphragms.
textures. Yeah, and that's another thing we got to mention. Like we put there's just months of work into this stuff, and then I think hopefully, like if you're watching this, it's more or less like it's not about your ego. It's not about any like a 20-minute thing, because we'd be like, well, look how we would accentuate everything, but this door shot, I think it's like, yeah, that this one's only 9 frames too, you know.
Nice.
It's they're so rapidly happening. Like if we watch it back here, so it's like doon 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 doon. Yeah, there he goes. That's months of work. But yeah,
1
yeah,
second.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man. Yeah, 1 second exactly. Yeah, here's some of the shots too, and it's kind of interesting if you look at the adapted noise too, like how hard it struggles in these like tighter little darker areas too. Oh man, I love it. But yeah, this shot, I like all of them. Yeah, this is a good payday too. This one, it felt really good once we were done with it. Yeah, and the texturing got crazy. Yeah, it kept getting crazier and crazier too as it was developing. It's cool though. The one thing I loved about this too is like you'd go off and texture it, and then I'd open up the file and like kind of play with trying to figure out what you had done, and then try to unwork it, and then play with it again, and add more, and then reduce more and stuff. It was just kind of cool. Like I was kind of like Sherlock Holmes exploring like a crime scene almost, you know, trying to figure out how. And
That's a nice metaphor.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of how it felt, you know. It's like, oh, what did you do here? And I'm looking for trace evidence of what had happened prior. So, yeah. But yeah, here's all the textures. I'll kind of zone in on this so you guys can see, because I don't know if you could see that in the full res, but yeah, it came out pretty.
I don't know. I just I looked into Wikipedia and just copied a phrase from Akira.
Oh, okay.
Wikipedia and just put it here.
Awesome.
It's just the decoration and that's.
Oh, that's good. Little Easter eggs are the best. I think once we ended up finishing out these shots, we brought them into After Effects again, and then from After Effects we would add in some, adding in some particles, and then it was finding. You want to talk a little bit about like how you approach like adding in that smoke and stuff?
Yeah, and I bought the smoke assets from Video Copilot and some other website, and use because the shape of the smoke and its cylinder, right? Cylinders, it can wrap video into a cylinder shape. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
that's
that's it.
interesting. Oh, I didn't know that you were doing that. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing it, and then I would remember playing with like going into the file and then trying to play with like adjusting the masks on it, because some of the masks were still a little harsh, and so I didn't realize that you turned it into a cylinder though. That's cool. How did you learn this stuff? Is this kind of something that you find on the internet, or like something that a friend would tell you?
Yeah, I learned mostly from Video Copilot.
So many people have built their career off of learning from Andrew Kramer and
Kramer, yeah. After Effects king.
yeah. Oh yeah, and it's so cool because he shows like how powerful this tool is, you know, and how to use it properly and stuff, which is awesome. But that's cool. Here's the file so you guys can kind of see what it looks like. This is where it is with a basic raw render, and then starting to add some the particles and then some of the fog, and that's so in this effect that's what you're using then, huh?
Yeah.
So this one. Yeah, that's cool. Let's see. Yeah, CC cylinder.
Cylinder.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Awesome. That's so funny because I didn't know you're doing that. So when I'd see a hard edge, what I'd do is I'd make another mask and feather it out. So I didn't even realize that. I wasn't even looking at that. That's so funny. And then yeah, this is the fog and extra bits, and then like a light spill at the top from a solid that's then colored and changed and set to screen. So I think that really helps it too. It lifts the blacks up there, and it makes the blacks down here even darker, and just changes that. And then from here, then you have and the noise, and then slight chromatic shifting and all that kind of stuff. And the sapphire, good stuff. And then there you go. Yeah, but that's kind of a look at a little bit of what these shots kind of went through in the production side of them and the compositing part. Yeah, and here's this one. And this one, I think we used a lot more or less like the smoke stuff, basically. And it's like a package of smoke stuff that you got. And then just timing it and remapping the time and adjusting it and getting it to flow and feel right. Yeah, it's complicated, but yeah, came together. I think the smoke really helps it too. It's like it takes a lot. I mean, it's like I don't think like a note that I've always learned is you should never just you should never just rely on the render. The render's never completely finished. You should always be doing some sort of compositing, because that's really like how you accelerate the likeness of it, the reality of it. I think comes from that, and it's really important to do that. By putting it through the process of doing post work, it really takes a kind of a dead, dull shot and makes it look and feel real. There's slight blur and edge and shake to these shots too. All the particles and then the frost and the dust and stuff. It all just adds so much more visual texture and feel to it. And adding these subtle animations were really a lot of fun too to do. These are cool. And adding like the little pieces that were moving and stuff back there, that was fun. Yeah, and rotating them and stuff. So it just felt like the whole thing was just opening up and changing. So yeah, this is a fun sequence. This is a big one too. There's so much to it. But yeah, I'm glad it's done. Yeah.
Also, the camera shake has the momentum.
Yeah, there's definitely that. I can't remember. Yeah, the camera shake is a necessary part of this sequence too. I think it just really helps. It just turns the shot into something much more dynamic too by adding it. So we added camera shake to quite a few shots that were needing it. I think whenever the edits started to get faster, it would be better to add a slight amount of that so that it felt like you were on edge, basically. Yeah. And fun times. Yeah, all that work.
By the quad shot.
Yeah. Awesome. I think that concludes these shots. Is there anything else that we might have missed, do you think of, or are we good?
Yeah, we are good.
Covered it all, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 4 shots, and they're all connected to one. So, yeah, hopefully you guys appreciate all the hard work you put into it. And I really enjoyed it personally. It was a lot of fun. It was very rewarding.
Yeah.
And I learned so much about myself and my endurance and how to model and stuff through the process. So I figured if there's something that you don't want to do and you want to learn something and it's really difficult, it's best to focus that learning around something you love, because it makes the learning process so much easier.
Yeah, that's true.
I had a friend tell me, "Oh, if you want to model, you should learn how to model a hammer." And I said, "Why would I ever want to model a hammer? I don't want to model a hammer, you know." And then I was like, "I want to model Akira's bike." And then my friend's like, "You're crazy." And then I tried to, and then I failed. And I don't like modeling. He was right, but I didn't want to model a hammer. So, years later, I ended up modeling the Akira stuff. So yeah, and part of Kaneda's bike, so it's okay. So yeah. But I think that's something that's really important. That's another reason why we did this project. Is because we wanted to learn and use something that we are passionate about to learn to get better. So yeah, the process is really quite fun. So awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's move into the next one.
Yeah, let's go.
Awesome.